Hello, everybody. My name is Fandi. Today, I want to share some reflections about identity and self inquiry in always learning organizations, in our case, our schools. This is a short self reflection that came to mind today as I hear people talking about family and how we are all a human family. Our schools are like families and the like. And that is true. But also for me, for each one of us to be able to be a family member, we all need self awareness. And that self awareness can only come from self inquiry. In the case of schools, as always learning organizations, self inquiry is crucial and must be present at the institutional, interrelational, as well as the individual level. When we don't inquire into our own dimensions of self identity, we go into relationships in the classrooms with our students, with our colleagues at school that are not rooted in self awareness. And that lends itself to bringing our unexamined biases into our teaching and learning, to the roles that we have at schools, whatever that role might be. Those biases often turn into microaggressions or harm that we send into the world of our students and colleagues that dent their own self of self. But having not examined them, we continue to perpetuate harm or inequities in our schools. And we have seen this um, more often now that organizations or schools are open. The age of transparency, the age of, you know, sharing best practices, but at the same time, our schools are exposed to the world. So it is a time when, uh, if we don't inquire into our own learning environments, then we are exposing ourselves to be examined from the outside. That's what I'm trying to say. Um, so I invite you to self-inquire. What aspects of your identity that become salient in what particular moments come into play? For example, I am a woman, I am a Black Latino American woman with a passport from the global south, living in an EU country now after having lived in many other countries before. I am married, I am straight. So, how do these aspects of my identity come into play when I work in the classroom, when I work in international schools? A lot has happened. Like I am sharing now this video in English after, you know, we have so much to say, but that aspect I mentioned it of Spanish being my first language and English being my second language, because that has come into play, or how I have been seen in different schools, or in different environments, and what voice have I had? Now I feel empowered to share things in English, but for a long time that wasn't the case, because always, being mindful of, the structures that we have in place, or in terms of like language equity and all of that. And I could speak about that for another time. I'll leave it for another time. Uh, and what I'm trying to say, every aspect of our identity becomes salient at particular moments, and we need to be aware of them, because how do those aspects of our identity position you in your relationship to others is important, particularly in your relationship to students in the classroom, to your colleagues, in your roles. Yeah. How does that positionality grant you access to power and responsibility towards the students, towards colleagues, towards parents, etc.? How does that positionality underline how you see your role? How does that positionality underline your relationship with the students and all of the stakeholders in your school community? So that's the invitation for today. This was today's self-reflection. I am Fandi, and I am the creator of the iDEIJ Continuum, a whole school student-centered holistic framework for diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, and justice.
The iDEIJ Continuum is brought to schools by iEducate Global together with ALOC, the Association of International Educators and Leaders of Color.